Hi everyone, and welcome to our first ever army blog from JAAD Productions. My name is Jay. We're going to be walking through our Deathguard today and talking about our growth for that, all sorts of things we've got planned for that, talking about how we've built our army, how we plan to build it, look at some of the work we've done in recent days, all that kind of thing. And should we just explore the army as it grows in these blog series of the first one starting with the Deathguard. So the Deathguard I've had since before 7th edition Traitor Legion supplement dropped, back when it was still just that awful 7th edition Chaos Codex. And they were literally an amalgamation, my Deathguard, of just random models that I'd pulled and recycled from the Dark Vengeance kit and the Dark Vengeance expansion kit for Chaos. It's where the Land Raider and the Warp Talons and the Chaos Terminators came from. And it was all, that was very cool. I sort of just, sort of use them to throw around, just kind of like, whatever. They're Chaos Goons. It never hurts to have some Chaos Goons. And it was one of those things that I never took them really seriously until Warzone Australis started. And it was around that time, just before the campaign started, that, it was a few months before then that Traitor Legions had dropped, and it had finally rules for all those, Traitor Legions, funnily enough, and I actually put some detailed work into actually making my Deathguard function as an army out of the scraps I had, even going out and kit bashing my little Chaos Spawn just so I could use that Decurion. And then I used that for quite some time, and I absolutely loved the Traitor Legions book. It didn't fix fundamental problems with the Codex Chaos Space Marines from 7th edition. That was just a mess of a book, an absolute mess of a book. I hated it. I hated it, but I loved it. But I mostly hated it. I loved Traitor Legions and the stuff it gave. I loved using that. I loved using that early on in Warzone Australis. Most of my games with Traitor Legions were in Warzone Australis using the Deathguard. There were a lot of Deathguard missions where it was just like, there were a lot of Deathguard missions in early Warzone Australis, and it's just because I loved using the Deathguard. I loved it. I loved having really high toughness guys that were super hard to kill. I love being that super defensive, that roll in slowly, they can't really hurt you. I loved all the Deathguard psychic powers. I loved them all. I loved every moment of playing those games. Sadly, I was super pissed when I saw 8th edition, when I saw the 8th edition Deathguard index. I bought Dark Imperium day it came out, split it with T. I took all the Deathguard stuff and added it to my Deathguard, and he took all the Primaris stuff and added it to his Salamanders, and now he's gone Primaris mad on the Salamanders, which you will not see in Warzone Australis, ever, because I hate Salamanders. I don't hate Salamanders, it's just they have no place in the storyline. And I took away all those models, and that was the only new Deathguard stuff I had, and with, the Chaos Index that came out, it sort of just cut my army to pieces. Like, I had no army left to speak of. I think I had a total something, barely over 1,000 points by the time they, because I had 3 Chaos Sorcerers, which I can still technically use, but now they don't feel right in the army. I had some Chaos Lords. I had 2 blocks of Chaos Terminators with power fists and power weapons and chain fists, and I absolutely adored using Nurgle themed Terminators. It was balls to the walls, the funnest thing I have I loved doing it. I loved doing it because it infuriated so many people, and the Index took that away from me. And the Index also took away my my Nurgle Bikers, and it also took away my Warp Talons, which were finally good again in 8th edition. They were finally good. I built them because they were cool, but they never really did anything. Unless I paired them up with Traitor Legions, and then 8th edition rolled around, and I don't have that anymore. So my Deathguard became slow prodding nothingness. It was, I think, all I had left by the end of it was, I couldn't even use standard Chaos Space Marines inside of a Deathguard detachment. That was just how crazy it was. I was so furious. My army was cut to pieces. It made me all kinds of angry. All kinds of angry. I really only had cultists left over. And a Hellbrute. It was bad. But I recovered, I bounced back. The reason I do this blog now is because it's taken me till now to actually get some Deathguard stuff in, which is why you saw a lot of the huge cut down on Deathguard battle reports inside of Astralis. The narrative changed just to reflect that I just didn't have that army anymore. And now we're back with them, and this blog is going to cover how I've rebuilt them and how I plan to keep on building them up in the future. Because I got my hands on Deathguard Codex. I was super pumped when it came out. I loved it. It's taken me till now to get a lot of the stuff in. I've been getting it slowly. I'm not the kind of person who goes out and just buys everything in the new Codex straight up. I don't have the economy for that. I'm not like T, who, there's a new Demons Codex that's just come out. I'm gonna go buy 2 more boxes of Tzeentch. Because, yeah, 2 more boxes of Getting Started Tzeentch, just because. Maybe another lot of change, just because I can have Karos. Yeah. I'm going to see if I can get him to do some of these army blogs as well, because he's really interesting with how he makes his armies and the just amount of work he puts in them. He builds and paints a lot faster than me, but he also gets a lot more in. I tend to make sure I have everything that I have in built and painted and ready to play in campaigns and in battles, and I don't like to play with unpainted models. And T, because he plays at local tournaments, he gets a lot of it, and he tries to build and paint it as fast as possible, but he's a better painter than me, but I'm still pretty good, but he just gets so much in that he just can't paint it all. So he's got an entire something almost exceeding 5,000 points. I'm betting. I know it exceeds 3,000 points. It's got to be bordering 5,000, 6,000 points of Chaos Demons at this point. It's got to be. It's 3,000 plus points of Chaos Demons. It's fully enough to do a huge Apocalypse game with, but just maybe a quarter of it is painted. Maybe I think 1,500 points of it is painted. Actually, we tried in the latest video of Warzone Astralis. Not day 21, day 20, with the Space Wolves versus Demons. That's actually everything he has painted minus the Diphage, the Lord of Change, which is nuts. But enough about Demons. Let's talk about some Deathguard. So now that my Deathguard have finally got their shit together, I've gotten them in, So, by the time, after I had Dark Imperium, until just recently, I haven't had a lot of them to go on. So, after Dark Imperium and their Codex dropped, I ended up having a Chaos Lord, a couple Sorcerers, a Hellbrute, let's see, I had the Lord of Contagion, I had the Malignant Plaguecaster, I had the Noxious Blightbringer, I had the 7 Plague Marines, I had 20 Cultists, 10 with Close Combat Weapons, 10 with Autoguns, I had the 20 Poxwalkers, and I had the Bloat Drone, and I had a Land Raider and a Chaos Spawn. So that's what I had straight up to begin with, and that was not a lot. That was not a lot, and it wasn't a lot you could actually field a workable army with. Like, I quite honestly, there was a little tournament just after 8th edition came out here near where I am, called Kill Maim Burn, and I thought about taking it was something like 50 power, open play, just doubles tournament, just good old fashioned fun. Really enjoyed it. It was a lovely tournament where the worse you did, the higher you scored, which was great for me. Not so great for T. Yeah, I made up a list, and T and I both looked at it, and it was pretty much all I had left of Deathguard, and it was just awful. It was awful. It was awful. So I didn't end up taking it. And the next time I used the Deathguard was quite some time after that. The Deathguard just did not get appearance, except for maybe 1 or 2 units, allies. Eventually I got in another Noxious Blightbringer. I got in, another Photide Bloat Drone, which is... Those things, I love them. Those are awesome things. And, I converted... Alright. So, I love the new Tallyman model. I like the new Tallyman model. I like Nurgle exclusive models. But I have a very sentimental attachment to my old Dark Apostle miniature. The one that represented Jareth, Archprophet of Nurgle, inside of the Warzone Astralis campaign. He was my Dark Apostle through 7th edition, through Traitor Legions, through the Gathering Storm fiasco. That was fun. I loved that from my Eldar. Good times to be Eldar player. But I had him there, and I said to myself, I like my Dark Apostle model. I like it. I'm not going to change it. I'll change its color scheme a little bit. I'll give it some extra parts. I'll do some conversion work. I'll put it on the right size base, and I will field him as a Tallyman. I'm not going to buy a new Tallyman because I love that model. It's a very special model to me. It has a very special story about how I got it. It was a very dear birthday present, and I greatly appreciate it, and I refuse to not use it inside of my Nurgle army. So I got that, and so I had a Tallyman, which I couldn't be more thankful to have. Like, at first I thought, wow, this is a really bad unit, but then I thought to then I did the battle report after a week of planning with T, day 19 or something, I don't know. It was a Tyranid versus Deathguard one. It was really good. One mission in the center. Pretty much used almost everything I had in terms of Deathguard. And Tallyman with Fugaris' Helm, Relic, plus 20 Poxwalkers equaled so much fun. I couldn't believe it. That's right there where I fell in love with Poxwalkers and the Tallyman. So now I just like to bring the Tallyman whenever, ever. I disliked a lot of things about the Chaos Codex, but about the about the Deathguard Codex. I disliked a lot of things about it, but you know, what can you do? So Deathguard Codex was like, I didn't like the abundance of new characters. It made us super synergistic based instead of, you know, instead of just being we're hard to kill and it's our greatest trait is that we're very defensive. We don't have much firepower, but we'll get you eventually long before you are able to take us out. But no, they felt the need of, we've got to be all our elite slots have got to be filled up with lots of independent characters, which all have to bunch up and work together to make us anywhere near what we used to be. And even then, we still are, well, we're about as durable as a Rhino, and those aren't very durable anymore. Well, that they ever were. I don't know, I've never used a Rhino. I fought people using Rhinos. They tend to blow up easily. But I've never used one myself, per se. I don't like Rhinos. Mostly because I'm a Space Wolf player, and I'm a Deathguard player, so I like to advance on foot. Eldar. Wave Serpent the shit out of you. Yes, I will. So, what was... so, yeah, it took a while to add some stuff there. So now, it's January. That was the last battle report I did, and that got me super psyched for them. I even put my new Adeptus Mechanicus army on hold for them. And now, you can see up on the screen, so my latest baby that I've been working on, I got my hands on Mortarion. Why did I buy Mortarion? Because he's Mortarion. And I had a blast painting him. I spent a week painting him. So he went straight into my army. He and a Biologist Putrefier, they're called. Yeah. Those are the first two additions to my army. I've got pictures here of Mortarion because he hasn't been taken down to our little studio at T's. So he's still at my house with me. He's still on my painting table. He's finished, mostly. I'm super happy with him, but at the same time, I'm so super critical of myself. There's a lot of things I really don't like about my paint job on him, but he's done. He's good. I like him. I love Morty. Will I probably ever use him in a game? Not inside a campaign. Will I probably use him inside of just a random matches that may or may not get recorded because I want to field Mortarion as a Lord of War choice? Maybe. Will I buy Thousand Suns, a Billion Brimstone Horrors, and Magnus the Red and be a dick? No. No, I will not. So I added those two. And now, after a bit of a shopping spree, added in a Foul Blightspawn, which is fantastic. And added in more Plague Marines, another squad of Plague Marines. So I now got 14 Plague Marines. And added in, well, I haven't added these to my army list yet. I do have them. 2 of the Myphitic Blight Haulers. Yeah, those things kind of sold out everywhere where I am really, really quickly, so I did not get a chance to buy a third one. I could only snatch up 2 of them. And even then, that was competition because I got in there last, and there were only 2 left at one store, and 1 left at one store, and the 1 left at the other store I didn't get to in time, sadly. So someone else walked away with a Myphitic Blight Hauler. Better than someone else I know who also ended up walking away with 1 or 2. Most people I've seen to speak to who play Deathguard have well, they've struggled to get more than 1 or 2 of these things at once because every Deathguard player, his dog, his pet Nurglings, his Beast of Nurgle, and his Greater Unclean One cousin wants one. I'm not entirely sure why. They're good, but I don't know. Well, I guess there'll be a focus of some areas that we go to in this blog and see whether they do. I'll have to do some battle, tell you how my opinions on them as we go. So as I play more games with this army, I'll update this thing and let you know my directions, things I'm thinking about adding, and all sorts of feedback based on what you guys. So for now, I've covered you what I've recently got. So in anyone who's wondering what happened to my old Chaos army, like all those units I couldn't use, I'm gonna be redoing them up into a Word Bearers, my second favorite Legion, and those Word Bearers are going to, be there just for narrative play. They're gonna be there for narrative play because I like them. I still want to use them in campaigns. No reason not to use models I don't have. I like to use every model in my collection, which really bums me out about my Eldar since I have a huge Eldar collection. We'll cover the Eldar when and if they actually get a blog of their own. I mean, I couldn't do much with them except for tell you what's on the painting table that I haven't already done in a few Aspect Warrior squads I don't own. So we'll run you through the list of... So I'll run you through my army list real quick. I mean, I've got the time here on this blog. It's my blog. No one's telling me off. So I'll run through my army list real quick, and you guys leave comments below on what you think about it, and things you can change, things you recommend, things you think I should add to my army list, that kind of thing. I really appreciate any feedback from anyone who is listening, anyone who plays Deathguard, anyone just with any opinions at all, or any questions about why I'm running things the way I'm running them. I have just added Typhus, picture up on the screen of the big green man himself. Typhus, Herald of Nurgle. It was interesting to paint. As for where he sits in the codex, he's kind of interesting. The whole reason of why I own Typhus is, well, you kind of need him. I looked at a lot of stuff, and I figured you actually really kind of need Typhus for the Deathguard because, well, I look at it this way, right? A Lord of Contagion costs 130 points. Typhus costs 175 points. I could get a Lord of Contagion for 117, but if I wanted a cheap HQ, I would go with the regular Chaos Lord. If Typhus, his pistol sort of meant nothing to me. His Mastercraft and Man Reaper, that, however, did mean something to me. That was it. But I guess the main reason I really wanted him is because when you're faction, I'm not someone who really likes to get named characters in certain factions. Like, I own only a couple named characters for my Eldar. I own Belisarius Cole for AdMech, because he's the only one AdMech have. And for Space Wolves, the entire idea of my army build there is just to have every named character under the sun, because I like that style for them. I like playing Hero Hammer with them, as we call it. When your faction only has 2 named characters, and the other 2 remaining ones are Forge World, then you might as well get him. So, I mean, it was mostly the fact that he has all the durability of a Lord of Contagion, which I've just recently learned just how frighteningly durable that asshole can be. Like, Lord of Contagion, he can take some punishment. Oh my. And that Lord of Contagion, I tested that out on. I wasn't even playing him properly, and I was just sort of tooling around, and he still was a pain to kill. Took out a Dreadnought near solo. That was amazing. So Typhus, like, if he can do that, plus he's got psychic powers, plus he buffs my favorite new Poxwalkers, then yeah. So we ended up getting Typhus. So there's not much to Typhus, but we've got him. Might end up proxying him for some other named characters and campaigns, but I've got him for just all-purpose playing. We got an old Chaos Lord, the Lord of Dead Flesh. Some of you might know. It was old Chaos Lord that I've been using forever from the Dark Vengeance set. Love the model. So Plasma Pistol, Bale Sword. So he's 87 points. I tend to give him the Suppurating Plate as a relic, typically. The Suppurating Plate of Fugaris' Helm. I love Fugaris' Helm. So useful. And typically I just give him the either Hulking Physique, which I've only done that once and regretted it, or I give him Arch Contaminator, because it seems like the perfect thing to put on a Chaos Lord. But that's typically what I run him as, if I run him as a Warlord, if there's nothing better. Typically I do run him as a Warlord. I've never run the Lord of Contagion as a Warlord, except in this past game. I've never run a Malignant Plaguecaster as a Warlord either. I've typically always chosen the Chaos Lord and just given him Arch Contaminator to run as a massive just reroll, really, really cheap reroll wounds, reroll hits. Just because rerolls for days. Got a Lord of Contagion with a Plague Reaper. Now, anyone out there who plays Deathguard might be a little annoyed at me that it's armed with a Plague Reaper and not a Man Reaper. And the simple answer to that is, I like straight 3 damage. I dislike the D3 damage. Yes, I'm hitting at strength 6 instead of strength 7. But for this guy, I'm not bringing him because of how hard he hits. I'm bringing him for how much damage he does. Strength 6 is not in that good threshold of being able to hurt vehicles, but it's good enough to get him killing what I want. And ironically, still good against a bloody Dreadnought. So, you know, with rerolls to wounds, like with Arch Contaminator on him, he's nuts. So I'm not super concerned that he's only 130 points, which is not bad. I got a Malignant Plaguecaster, 110 points, Corrupted Staff, Bolt Pistol. The Malignant Plaguecaster, I've gotten rid of all my Sorcerers, and I've just kept the Malignant Plaguecaster because I like my armies to be themed. And if they have a specific, like, I can still take Sorcerers, legally. They're here in the book. I can see them right in front of me. But why would I take a Sorcerer, which, you know, doesn't have the Toughness 5, when I can take the Malignant Plaguecaster, which has Toughness 5, he has the Blight Grenades, he has the Pestilential Fallout. The only reason I would ever take a Sorcerer is in case I wanted to be really competitive and do Warp Time. That's really it. So my sorcerers are gone, and that's it for my HQs. So I've got 4 of them. Typhus, a Chaos Lord with Plasma Pistol and Bale Sword, Lord of Contagion with Plague Reaper, sorry, and a Malignant Plague Caster. And that are all my HQs. Hellbrutes in my Deathguard army. Sorry, elites in my Deathguard army. I'm tired. Hellbrute. So got a Hellbrute, 72 points base. It's got a Combi Bolter, a Multi-Melter, and a Hellbrute Fist. 141 points. It benefits from... It's 141 points, it's a Dreadnought. It benefits from the Deathguard tactic. Is it equipped the best it could be? No. Can I change it? No, because it's an easy-to-build kit from Dark Vengeance. Do I have an issue with it? No, because it's there when I'm low on options. It's nice, sort of just a bit of a damage sponge, really. I mean, every time I've used the Hellbrute, it's proven effective in, you know, get in there, kill 1 or 2 characters by complete surprise. Yeah. In melee, it tends to, you know, I use it to kill a character or 2. I've used it once before in a Dark Eldar match, which was never published. It was back when 8th edition first came out and we were actually just trying to learn the game. Used it to do some surprise killing on, you know, Drazar and that named Dark Eldar Succubus. The one with all the blades. I forget her name. And one-shot those in rather much hilarity. The Multi-Melter, is it good? Nah. With... in the Multi-Melter, it's fine, I think, with the stratagems and the thing. Should I get another Hellbrute and give it something better? Maybe? I don't know. I have very limited experience with a Hellbrute. If someone has a Hellbrute and they've used them with a different setup, like, what do you recommend? What works? Because I see this and I just think to myself, yes, there's this and this and this, but I have other ways of dealing with that, and is it worth the points cost and giving up that precious elite slot in a Deathguard army? An elite slot which, you know, has got my Tallyman in it. My 62-point Tallyman, who's pretty much keeping all my melee game alive. And my Biologist Putrefier, who's making my handy-dandy Blight Grenades and Blight Grenade Storm Stratagem actually worth something for the low points of 75. Noxious Blightbringers, I've got 2 of them, 65 points apiece. Don't really care about their minus to morale. Never actually used it. It's never come up. But their Plasma Pistol and their Cursed Plague Bell, they're not bad weapons. They're not bad weapons to have on something that cheap. It's the rolling 2 dice and advancing. I like those to have huge ass bubbles, so that my slow ass Deathguard army can get right up there. I take 1 of those minimum every time. 2 of them if I'm serious. Or if I have lots of guys that need to be running quickly. Added a Foul Blightspawn. Not really Foul Blightspawn. I'm yet to play a game with him, but he's one of those things of, I've got him. 65 points. He's interesting because he's only really good if you pair him up with someone with the Arch Contaminator trait. Other than that, he's just got a really, really good flamer and a really defensive ability. So it's a question of how do you use him? Do you stick him with a blob of Plague Marines and go with all the Overwatch? Do you send him tank hunting with the Chaos Lord as his partner? Do you, like, how do you deploy him on the table? He's gonna take a bit of playing. I'll let you guys know on that. Suggestions about, like, how I should use him, who I should put him with, great little combos that you guys have found be appreciated. Other than that, I got him because I wanted his big-ass flamer and his revolting stench, which could be useful on the Poxwalkers. And that's it for my elites choices, because all of my 10 Terminators are invalid. Yeah, all of my Terminators are invalid. I couldn't save any of them, not even my regular Chaos Space Marines, not even the ones that were recycled from Dark Vengeance or the Dark Vengeance expansion kit. None of them. Because I did not have the requisite number of swords and axes, and they can't have power fists. Only Terminators in the game that can't have power fists. So now I have no Terminators, and now I've got to fork out, $95 Australian for 5 Terminators for a unit I'm probably going to want to have 2 of. For a unit that I'm not really sure how to equip. I intend on adding some Blight Lords. I'll put it that way. I don't know if I intend on adding as many as to replace what I had. Should I add 10 of them and field them as a giant blob? Should I add 10 of them and field them as 2 separate 5-man squads? Should I give them all combi plasmas just to be a douche? Or should I kind of focus them all more as being anti-swarm? Because they're combi bolters. That's a lot of shots at 18 inches. And they can be pretty nasty in melee with their... If I give them a mace... a flail. Flail? Yeah, flail. So, yeah. We'll examine those down the road. I'll let you know if I get some of those in the next blog. Let you know how this army is currently performing, because I've yet to play with a few of this new stuff in a proper match. Blightlord Terminators. Really would appreciate any opinion on those, on what you guys think about them, how you think they're... I think, despite their Aura of Rust ability, I don't think they're made for tank hunting. I think they're made for getting rid of mech, light vehicles, and Gek. I think that's what they're made for. And I think they're made for being your super durable shock troops. I think they're better Plague Marines, really. And they're better Plague Marines that actually have the weapons to stay focused, whereas the Plague Marines have too many weapon options that focusing down on a single thing is a little, it's a little, hard. We'll put it that way. Yeah. So, speaking of Plague Marines, we'll look at the troops section of my list. So, in my army list stuff I've got 7 Plague Marines in one squad who've got 2 plasma guns, a Great Plague Cleaver for self-defense in case something big charges them, a plasma pistol, and a power fist. Basically, the idea with this squad is that they're going to be dealing with the big mean things, and the big mean things that are going to require power fists and Great Plague Cleavers are probably going to be the things that are going after them. Like, I know I chose the Great Plague Cleaver simply because there wasn't enough parts in the box to build 2 Flails of Corruption. Would I like to have 2 Flails of Corruption in the squad? Absolutely. Would I like to have 2 Flails of Corruption in each squad? Absolutely. But that's also less bolter shots, and that feels like kind of a waste. So, 1 melee weapon per squad, I think, was what I settled upon. With my second Plague Marine squad, Blight Launcher, Plague Belcher, Flail of Corruption, Plague Sword, Power Fist. Really more of a squad for dealing with mech and light infantry, really. Just dealing with, yeah. I don't know. I know the Plasma Squad's going to be really effective if they don't get gunned down, like, super quickly. I probably should get a Rhino to put them in. I might, depending on how many of you tell me to get a Rhino. And, other than that, it's, I don't know. The second squad, I've had some experience with them. I didn't use them against quite the right target. I tried to take on a Calexis Assassin and the entire squad got wiped. That was hilarious. But against Space Marine equivalents, it struck against Space Marine equivalents and standard infantry equivalents. It just struck me as a good anti-infantry option compared to the plasma toting squad. So I'm tossing up between getting a 3rd Plague Marine squad, which would probably be equipped with Blight Launcher, Plasma Gun, and Flail, or getting more Poxwalkers. Right now, I'm really leaning towards more Poxwalkers. So we've got 10 cultists in another squad. So we've got 20 cultists divided into 2 squads. One has got auto guns and heavy stubber and shotgun for 44 points. The other one has got 10 cultists and a flamer and assault auto pistols and brutal assault weapons, 49 points. Quickly back to those Plague Marines, right? So, they're in 7-man squads right now. But, should I be fielding them in a large 14-man squad, or should I be fielding them in very small 5-man squads? Because they're 179 points for the Plasma Toting squad, and 162 points for the Anti-Infantry squad, and that's at the 7-man strong. So, should I be fielding them minimum size, or should I be fielding them... Am I fine leaving them where they are? Or should I be going for, like, really big squads of Plague Marines? So I can capitalize on that, so tired. I can't say it. I can't say the words. Their special rule that lets them rapid fire at 18. Oh, man. I'm so good at English, but I'm just so tired right now. I don't know why. I do know why. I was up till late working on Typhus. So yeah. I've tried them as a 7-man squads. They've never really disappointed, but they might be a little bit too expensive. Then finally in the troop section, we've got a 20-man Poxwalker squad. 120 points. 120 points of absolute joy. I love them. They're slow, but that's nothing Noxious Blightbringer can't fix. They've, at 20 man, they're hitting on 4s. Combine that with a Tally Man, they're re-rolling everything. I like them. Nothing can survive that amount of things. I'm going to get, I know for certainty, I'm going to get another 20-man Poxwalker squad. I'm never going to not field them at 20-man strength. Thanks to the new fact that there says they can actually go above their max unit cap is balls to the wall nuts. I won't be getting enough Poxwalkers to do that. Should I get 30? Should I get 3 squads of 20? That's what I'm debating with right now. Do I go more Plague Marines now that they've had a price drop in Chapter Approved to 17 points? Or do I go down to... Do I go to more Poxwalkers? Pre-Chapter Approved, I would have said more Poxwalkers. Post-Chapter Approved, I'm a bit torn. It's special weapons versus bodies, so... in the fast attack slot, I've got a Chaos Spawn, 33 points. It's Chaos Spawn. 2 Photide Bloat Drones, both with the 2 Plague Spitters, 160 points. I bring the 2 of them every time I play the Deathguard seriously, or in something that's over 1,000 points. I bring them because they're too good not to bring. If I get a third one, which I'm still debating on, do I give them more of the Plague Spitters, or a Flesh Mower, or a Heavy Blight Launcher? I've seen some compelling arguments for the Blight Launcher, but it's Assault 6 hitting on 4s, so mathematically, you're only getting about 3 hits with a Strength 6 AP minus 2 D3 damage Plague Weapon. Is that enough? Is that enough? Is only having one of those firing enough? Would I not need 2 or 3 Photide Bloat Drones with Heavy Blight Launchers? But at the same time, if I take the Flesh Mower, am I banking too much on trying to get into close combat with these things? Because, at the point where I am, I'm feeling like it might be worth not getting a third one. Like, looking through this, I think one of the best ways to actually run Deathguard, rather ironically, is with an Outrider detachment with lots of fast attack choices. Plague Drones, Myphitic Blight Haulers, Photide Bloat Drones, even Beasts of Nurgle. Like, lots of fast attack. Just, it seems worth it. Are Beasts of Nurgle not? I can't see the Beasts of Nurgle here in the Codex, but I know they are in here. How rather annoying. Yeah. So, yeah, and then finally in our heavy support we have a Land Raider with Combi Bolter, 2 Last Cannon, 20 Heavy Bolter, 358 points. And then we have Mortarion and a Lord of Warslot. Things that we're thinking about getting right now is I'm definitely, Plague Surgeon's number 1 on my list. Mostly because I haven't bought one yet, because I can't find one yet. I have to order it online from Games Workshop. Death Shroud Terminators. They had such a massive price drop, but they're so expensive kit-wise that I'm debating, do I just get 3 of them, or do I get a big squad of 6 of them? They're so expensive, but they're so good, and at 188 points for 3 of them, with 4 of the Plague Spurt Gauntlets and the Man Reapers, and all the buffs you can give them, Blight Lord Terminators, definitely. A Plague Burst Crawler. So, Plague Burst Crawler is one of those things of I don't know what the hell to give it. I only really want it for its Plague Burst Mortar. It's probably a little bit too expensive, both kit-wise and points-wise, to take more than one of them. At the same time, I'm not sure one would be enough. And it's also only hitting on 4s, so it's going to need a Chaos Lord to babysit it with Arch-Contaminator to get the most use out of it. Now, I could get 2 of them and have them babysit 2 of them, but that's a lot of stuff being babysit. That's, And these things, if they move, bye-bye any sort of realistic shooting that isn't the equivalent of orcs wildly throwing their guns in the air and going, look, we shot. It looks good on... I'm not convinced that it's actually any good. That's the sad thing. Adding to my fast stack, 2 of those Myphitic Blight Haulers. I haven't added them in yet, but they're there. I feel like investing in a full squad of Myphitic Blight Haulers and only 1 Plague Burst Crawler is actually going to give me all the heavy weapons I sort of really need. But I'm just not sold on this Plague Burst Crawler. Like, movement of 9, which decreases, but if it moves at all, it's immediately going up to Ballistic Skill 5 or 6 at its lower ones. It's Strength 7, which only matters if you give it Plague Spitters, really. But if they're that close to your crawler already, you're probably already screwed. It explodes on a 5-up. Oh, that's weird. It's got Disgustingly Resilient, it's got Demonic, so it's durable to ranged firepower and to thing, but the Entropy Cannons are... Like, I'd give it 2 of those, but the question is... It's hitting on 4s. It's hitting on 4s with rerolling 1s at best. I'm not sold. I think I have to get one, but at the same time, I'm still not sold. It's the Plague Burst Mortar. It's the heavy D6, Strength 8, AP -2, D3. D3 damage. Plague Weapon can target things not visible. It's, I don't know. As for its, Heavy Slugger or Rothail Volley Gun, don't know, could go either way on that. Don't really care. It'll probably never get used. Probably go for the longer range one. Yeah. So really, that's the Deathguard, right? So, what do you guys think of that army so far? Like, leave a comment on something about this army and what you think of the army I've got so far and what direction you really think I should take it. Do I need another Malignant Playcaster? Do I need more Psychic powered? Anyone who tells me to go get a Demon Prince or to add Demons of Nurgle, I will not justify a response. I play Deathguard. I do not play Demons of Nurgle. I will never add any Demons of Nurgle into this army. You might be able to convince me with a very good argument as to a Demon Prince. But Plague Bearers, Beasts of Nurgle, Plague Drones, Nurglings, that's all off limit. I will not add any of that in. T collects demons, every demon faction except for Nurgle. We have another friend who collects exclusively Nurgle demons and Deathguard. I exclusively do mortal followers. I do not like demons. I like I like Deathguard, not demons. So I will not add any of that in, no matter how much you guys recommend it, if you do recommend it at all. I know it's powerful. I know Mortarion with bloody, what's his face? That guy with the tally counter. Epidemius. I know that's stupidly powerful. I know the new Codex Demons that just came out with all the Nurgle love is stupidly powerful when paired with Mortarion and Magnus. I'm not going to do it. But please, please let me know what you think of this army and where you think I should take it. Next time I come back to this blog, we'll see what else I've added to it, and we'll talk about what games I've played with it, and we'll have some actual stuff on how they went, how I feel about them, what kind of direction we're going with, that kind of thing. Might even do the next blog might even be battle report, a battle report sort of. I lost my train of thought. The next blog might even be battle report style, where instead of me just talking about it for 50 minutes, we'll jump in and we'll do a battle report, and then we'll do a post game on it with T. Stay tuned for more of these army blogs, as we're going to talk about and explore a lot of our armies as how we build them. Like, mine aren't so interesting, but T's, because I build them really slowly, but T builds his armies really quickly. So it'd be interesting, and I know he loves getting player feedback. He's all about his demons right now, but he's still got his Tyranids. And it's a great way for you guys to get to know our collection, and for us to get to know kind of what you guys think of our armies and how we're fielding them, and see, get some alternate opinions beyond the people we're fighting, because a lot of the time, it's a lot of, oh yeah, that's good, and then they kick our asses. So yeah, please, any sort of comments at all, just talk about that. So that's it for this army blog, letting you know, the Deathguard are finally growing. They're back up to, being playable with all of my Deathguard stuff. They're about 2,721 points total for every Deathguard thing I own, if I was to field all. Not quite 3,000 points. Pretty close. I like all my armies to be about 3,000 points. I like them all to be about 2,000 points minimum. Admech will get there. Poor Admech. I really want... we'll cover Admech stuff later time. I'm not going to get into that discussion. Yeah. Deathguard. Alright. So that's the end of the blog. I'm Jay from JAAD Productions, signing out.